Welcome to Varrio Voices, where we highlight the voices of our barrios, familias, and communities. This is Velaz, and I hope you're having a good one. Sit back and enjoy la plática. Órale. So welcome back everybody to another episode of Varrio Voices. I hope that you all are having a wonderful day. Now today I just want to quickly mention that we're celebrating another year of Varrio Voices, but another year of my life as well. Today as I air this episode, we're celebrating my birthday. It's recently, happened just recently, So again, I'm just sharing this with you all because this is a perfect time to really evaluate and see how much we have come to do within this episode, within this podcast, as Varrio Voices. And I want to appreciate everybody has been tuning in. I also want to appreciate this homie of mine that I'll be having a podcast just today. His name is Richard, and he's also someone that really resonate with. He's doing something similar where he's doing something that he loves that really focuses on uplifting on barrios as well. So his episode is me talking about saved by nature and how he was saved by nature, right? As a young folk that was already criminalized and already incarcerated as a young adult, he got to have a chance of restoring his life, basically, just through being out there in nature and just disconnecting from toxic things within his life, and actually being able to now focus and have a clear vision on how he could uplift his own barrios, you know what I mean? And so it's a pleasure having him on, but it's really also a pleasure to just be here with you all and just talking about the amazing things that are coming in the future. Tune into the end so you can hear a little bit more about what I'm aiming to be doing in the short, near months, but also know more about like what's going on for the rest of the year, not just 2020 but 2021 and what's to come. So I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Much love to everybody, and I just want to say muchas gracias for all the birthday wishes, and just again the celebratory highlight of another year of Varrio Voices as well, So I'm gonna go ahead and shut up for now, right? And be talking to you all later on again. But for now, DJ Velaz, go ahead and hit the rola, Órale. But we should be fun. I guess to begin the podcast, today we're going on a hike with Richard from Saved by Nature. And down homie, has done a lot of great things for the community. He's been doing this work for about over 2 years, and he's continuing this work, after all of his successes. And just to begin, Richard, mind telling us about, who you are and your recent awards and recent things that you want to celebrate today?
Well, yeah, my name is Richard Tejeda. I'm the founder and executive director of a new nonprofit called Saved by Nature. And I did recently receive the 2020 Environmentalist of the Year award from the Santa Clara County League of Conservation Voters, which was, a big surprise, but also, something to celebrate. And that's why I'm excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, and to me, it's not really a surprise. Like I said, since the day I met you, you always bridge the connection of our own stories, right? Our own cultura, our own identity, right? Touching, making that bridge, right, to nature and really connecting them both. One of my earliest memories that I remember is that, I always tell a story, right, of the first memory of you, because I remember one time we stopped at a big rock. This big rock had a little, little hueco, right, a little dent, right, and you mentioned, that's probably where our families, our ancestors have one day went and grind maíz, or grind something that they wanted to cook, and kind of reminds me of the molcajete, right. And so again, it's your stories, the way that you approach nature really connects our own historias, our own barrios, to really come to really see, we do belong here, the way we do belong in nature, that is not something that we are excluded from, So, just to begin, what really bridged that connection for you to really begin to understand all those deep roots that we have here?
Well, in the beginning, it was about, connecting people to nature. But now it's about connecting nature to people, because for people to, care about nature or to make that connection, they got to understand that they have a place historically in nature, and that goes back to our abuelos and abuelas and their abuelos and abuelas, and the relationship that they had with the land, And so I find it very important to just not take people out and say, well, here's nature, here's your introduction, but say more that, this is the way that your culture historically, connected or was associated with nature. And some of those things may have been positive in the beginning and unfortunately moved into some kind of, negative association, if you will. And then it's important for us to go back and, and look at those connections, the positive connections that we have, and also to heal some of those positive connections with nature. And what I mean is, like, somebody maybe might be working in the fields, 12 hours a day, may have a different relationship with nature, and may at the end of the day not want to go out into nature, the way that the next person would. But anyhow, so it's a little,
Yeah, that kind of reminds me too of, like, when we think about our tíos, our familias out there working in la tierra, like, we always think about we're from la tierra, right? That la tierra is like in la cosecha, right? That we belong here, that all the, like, we're just unison with the earth, which is very true, and I wanted to kind of, like, again, poke your mind when it comes down to, like, our connection to la tierra. Like, what other stories have you, like, come to realize with your experience here, as a park ranger, as a founder of Saved by Nature, and so on?
Well, it's pretty simple. If we look right here, Arturo, we're standing in front of a valley oak that's about 250 years old. That's going to take us back into the 1700s, That's the time that our ancestors, the Spanish, were coming here on the Dianza expedition. It might have been some of your ancestors. It might have been some of my ancestors. I know that for a fact that my family came from Spain, and we're Spaniard. But when we walk over here, we just so happen to be walking next to the Ama Munson interpretive site panel right here in Coyote Valley, and we look and we see that there's actually a ceremonial site within our view. I can't tell you where it's at, but it's here. And at one point every year they had festivals in this field until they found artifacts and remains, and they could no longer put stakes in the ground, and so they don't have the festival here. But if we look at this interpretive sign, you see it starts all the way back, from the time of the Ama Munson and the Alonian and the Muwekma and the 51 tribes that were here from Monterey to San Francisco that all had different dialects. They were grouped together. And so for me, I have a lot of passions, and I feel like I have this desire, but also this responsibility to tell both stories as a full-blown Catholic, Spaniard, and also somebody with a passion for the Native American history and culture and respect that they live here for tens of thousands of years, pretty much in harmony with this earth and environment, And so it's hard not to connect people to this beauty, that's here, right here in Santa Clara County, in Santa Clara Valley, in the Valley of Heart's Delight, We see those cows right there, and we go back in time of the cattle and the ranchos and the Mexican era and the Spanish era, right? Not a lot of people realize that the Spanish and the Mexicans were the same Spaniards, and that they wanted their independence from Spain and the king and queen over there. And they said, and then, then the Mexicans won the War of Independence. And so there's so much history here, and we all have a place here, and we should all celebrate together. And so this hike is a celebration hike for Environmentalists of the Year, but it's a celebration for all of our ethnicities to come together and realize that. And that's what Saved by Nature is about. Because again, my saying is that when I grew up in South San Jose in Vickystown, there was Samoans, there was blacks, there was Vietnamese, there was Caucasians as well. And we were all living in poverty, and so I'm a firm believer that poverty doesn't always discriminate on the color of your skin, So
yeah, and even like looking at this poster too, I'm looking at like the efforts of like conserving the land, And even when thinking about conservation too, I'm always thinking about it conserving a piece of who we are too, By protecting the land, we're also protecting ourselves, right? Not just again, because it feeds us or because it brings us the fresh air, but because, like you said, it brings us part of our own identity también, And when we remove ourselves from the land, we could become to lose our own well-being, and our own touch with our own ancestors and la tierra, And también I really like the point that you pointed across, where if we look at the trees around us, they have once seen our own ancestors too. They bred that same, they reclaim, they replenish the same area that our ancestors have once breathed. You know what I mean? And so to me, is all those facts that you're providing to us is really, again, reinforcing the fact that we do belong here. We do have a space here within nature that really is a space where our familias, should continue to find unison with. And I think, again, like even my abuelita, and even some others abuelitas too, has one taught us too, that is by looking at the moon the one night before, you could tell if it's going to rain the next day, or if it's going to be cold the next day, or if it's, predicting with the weather by being aware of like the nature around you, And so again, like there's something that continues to be passed down, but if we continue to overlook them, we definitely are easily dismissive of them, when it really has been part of our lives without even noticing that it has been. And so for others that want to be more informed about the work that you do, the ways that you have educated other individuals about nature and the connection with it, how could they be involved with Saved by Nature? What are some ways that they could hear more about the work that you do?
So there's plenty of opportunity with Saved by Nature being a new nonprofit organization to get involved, to be a volunteer. We do a lot of virtual nature experiences where we need people coming out that are manning the tripod and camera, and we work with the Boys and Girls Club doing the Summer Science Project. Youth Alliance, we're going to be taking on hikes and doing a overnight backpacking trip. And we lead hikes in person with COVID. We're going to be, we led the way in virtual nature experiences during COVID, uplifting other organizations. And we're going to be leading the way with launching a 3-point check-in and COVID-safe hikes. And so the health department has okayed 3 small, same family groups coming out. And so we're going to be bringing them to Rancho Canado del Oro Open Space Reserve, which is an old Mexican rancho, and we're going to be making sure they have facial coverings and putting on hand sanitizer, checking their temperature, and giving them a wristband before them going out on a hike. So we need people to set up the station and make sure that it's safe and checking people in. And so we need people to help write grants and just you name it, we need help. So there's plenty of opportunity to get involved, and I see a lot of people donating and volunteering their time to organizations outside of Santa Clara Valley, and to me, I just want to stand up on top of a soapbox and say, hey, we're right here, social justice and environmental justice right here in Santa Clara Valley. We're a new organization, have our back, give us some support. We're doing well, but we could always use more help.
Yeah, and also like the premise of this episode too, for those that are tuning in, we're 2 homies that are out here in the hike, and I really want to, my call to action that I want all, the listeners and everybody that's tuning in to go ahead and do too is take a homie out there and hike, take them to nature, take them to, spaces that you could really easily reconnect with your, your roots, your ancestors, your own spirituality as well, And for others that are tuning in too, what are some other words that you would like for them to be left with?
Well, so here in Coyote Valley, the reason why I wanted to bring you here is because of the cultural connection, but because I call it the Valley of Hope. When I lived there in South San Jose, I would walk out of my house and, unfortunately I had family members that were neighbors that were addicted to meth, and a neighbor that was addicted to crack, and drug dealers and gangbangers that lived across the street, and I didn't have the option of escaping the neighborhood, and so, hi, and so, but I did, have choices, and unfortunately for a long time I made a lot of wrong choices and lost a lot of years of my life. But it came a point, and I also want to motivate people and let them know that I didn't decide to change my life, and I didn't come home until I was 25 years old. But you see, so it's never too late. But what I decided to do was, grab my fishing pole, which was gifted to me, and hop in this car, which was gifted to me, right, because I just came home and stuff. And there's no, there was no open space or nature space, and so I had to drive to Coyote Creek Trail, which is right over here. And I would get on that trail early in the morning, and I'd pack myself a lunch and stuff, and that's where I learned to fish, on Coyote Creek Trail along Coyote Creek. And I'd fish for largemouth bass, and I'd walk from South San Jose into Coyote Valley, and until, as far as I could walk, until like it was time for me to turn around and get back before sundown, and then I'd go home. And a lot of people go to church, a lot of people go to NA or AA for support, but I found my support in nature. And so what I want to leave you with is that I'm living proof that nature can change lives and can save lives. And if it wasn't for nature, I probably wouldn't be here today. And so I'm just happy to be able to be here, but also to be able to provide an organization that was created for all. You know what I mean? Yeah, so.
Yeah, and I really do want to congratulate you with getting the Environmentalist of the Year. Congrats. You're doing great things, and I'm excited to see what 2021 brings to you,
Yeah, so in 2021, some of the things that we'll be doing is, again, we got the OSA Urban Open Space Grant, and that's going to allow us to do 20 virtual nature experiences, 10 being, open to the public, and 10 being for people living with disability that can watch from hospitals and from home that are unable to get outdoors. We'll be doing the whole month of July, bringing science into the Boys and Girls Club. It's called the Summer Science Project, because they no longer get to go to Yosemite, which I got to go to when I was younger because they got in trouble. They can't go anymore. Anyhow. And then we'll be doing a youth alliance, taking them on two hikes, kind of orientation hike, and another hike, getting them familiar with camping gear. And then we'll be taking them on an overnight camping trip, and letting them take home a bunch of camping equipment in hopes that they'll, it'll spark, an interest, and so that they can continue to go hiking. So lots of cool stuff coming in 2021, including a relaunch of our COVID-safe hikes. And so it's a real exciting time.
And like I said before, a lot of great things to come. As you see, Saved by Nature has a lot of great things coming your way too. So stay involved. I'm gonna be stay volunteering with them. Hopefully doing some of the social media stuff with them, or just whatever I can to support the homie. He's been doing a lot of great things. So I'm glad to be connecting with them and building with them and everything. In addition to that, though, like I said, we're celebrating a whole new year of myself and also Varrio Voices. And I want to say just that I have learned a lot about podcasting, that I had practiced for a great while now, not just this 1 year, pero también something else that I have always held within myself is that it's really important to always acknowledge our own stories from our own barrios, familias, and anybody within our own neighborhoods, within our own barrios, because again, we all have that wisdom, within our own communities that we sometimes overlook. We go to college sometimes looking to learn more about ourselves, when we could look just around us and learn something about ourselves with the paletero or whoever is around us, And so one thing that I want to encourage y'all folks to, partake and just take advantage of is that, I'm looking to have an intern to really take the lead and, record some more podcasts, right? Highlight their own barrios too. I could highlight my barrio as much as I can, right? But, I want to extend that to other neighborhoods, So if you want to, again, practice, highlighting your own barrio and uplifting it and just, being, passing the mic around your own neighborhood, then hit me up, because I would like to have, some of your episodes within my podcast too. So let's continue to build, let's continue to highlight our own barrios. A lot more things are coming your way as well, not just that. But just stay tuned, tune into every episode, there'll be little sneak peeks every now and then of what's going on. But besides all that, I just want to continue to say I really appreciate all of y'all. I really appreciate the love, the support, the birthday wishes, all the words of encouragement for the 1 year celebration of Varrio Voices. Let's continue building, let's continue doing amazing work, let's continue to uplift ourselves and take our barrios up with us, And so with all that, I just want to say muchas gracias. Y'all been in tune to Varrio Voices, where we highlight the voices of our barrios, familias, and communities. This is Velaz, and I just want to say muchas gracias for your love and support. Órale.